All In Sports Network. We love sports.
Home to the cradle of basketball and the rise of football and the greatest spectacle in racing. This is All Indiana Sports, presented by the Unstable Blues.
Welcome back home again in Indiana. The Racers and Pacers were in action. Unfortunately, Indiana itself laid a goose egg the entire weekend as the FIFA lost the heartbreaker to Liberty. The Indiana representatives at 500 did not win, and the Pacers blew a 13-point halftime lead. Let's talk through as we go all in.
That's correct. I'm Kevin. This is my son, Liam. We are the Unstable Blues. Happy to present All In Indiana Sports as part of the All In Sports and Rogue Media Sports networks.
Yep. The rookie pole sitter,
Yep.
Robert Schwartzman, I believe is how you say it.
Yep, that was your pick.
That was my pick. Had a terrible first pit. Scott Dixon couldn't overcome brake problems from the warm-up laps.
Yep. Connor Daly fell off at the last pit. Joseph Newgarden worked his way all the way up to 7th, starting from the back row, but had a fuel pressure issue late in the race.
Yeah, then former Indy 500 winner Ryan Hunter-Reay with little Odd Dreyer and Reinbold looked to be in prime off-pit strategy, but stalled it out coming out of the last pit stop. So close, yet so far.
So Alex Palou did what he's done the entire season and got his first ever oval win and first Indy 500. Congratulations to him. I was thinking about, like, we weren't crazy excited about this,
Right.
just because of the Palou domination that has happened.
And because we had other people that we were watching, like Newgarden, who somehow made it all the way back, and then something happened. Hunter-Reay was there, and then something happened.
But at the same time, it feels like no matter who wins the Indy 500, if you're a fan of the Indy 500 racing, you have to tip your cap and you have to give respect because of how difficult it is to do, especially as the first time. So, there you go.
Yeah. Let's talk about the Road Warriors real quick.
Yes.
This is about the Eastern Conference Finals.
Well,
not the 500.
Yep.
The Pacers and Knicks are both 6-1 on the road now in the playoffs. That is a crazy stat line.
Insane.
So
it's like home court doesn't even matter.
Exactly. It's because the Knicks lost both of their games to Indiana at home.
Yep.
And now Indiana has lost a game to the Knicks.
Right. For the first time ever.
Yes. In the playoffs, first time ever.
First time ever at that stadium.
The Pacers are now 9-1 against them.
Yep.
So,
speaking of other record numbers, the Pacers are now 0-3 in game threes in this playoffs, 10-0 in the rest of the games. And the Pacers are 0-4 in games played on the same day as the Indy 500 all time.
Should have seen it coming.
We should have, but we didn't. It's all right.
Mm-hmm. And the Knicks came in grasping it for anything different than the first two games by starting Mitchell Robinson over Josh Hart and playing DeLon Wright and Landry Shamet.
Yep.
Double-digit minutes. So two new guys getting double-digit minutes.
Right. They went 9 deep.
Yeah. Coach Thibodeau getting in deep in his bench, which is unlike him. But you have to do that against the Pacers, who play 10, 11 deep sometimes. So you have to be able to do that. The starting lineups, I don't know if it necessarily worked because the Pacers kind of won that early game.
Yeah.
Whenever the subs came in, I think it was a bigger deal that, one, Josh Hart got took out of the starting lineup. It was like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
I need to work better. And then he was in the starting lineup, so he realized
he did
that.
Work better.
He worked better against our second unit, which kind of hurt us because he's been playing against first units the whole season.
Yep.
So,
and his rebounding, just ability to be in the right place at the right time. I won't say Dennis Rodman like, but is definitely up there and serves them well. Yeah. So difference in the game to you. where things went well, went wrong. We're not going to get to the moment and the player yet, but like just in general, what was your thought on game?
I thought that one, Carlisle's challenges are still on point. Won every single one of them, but he did it kind of early in the game. So whenever it came late to the bigger calls, the refs had their say. I told you about this in this. I said the refs are making it so that they have to challenge early on so they can make whatever they want happen later in the game. And that's essentially what happened. They made some really bad calls, and I know the refs can go review stuff,
Right.
and they just chose not to.
Of course.
I don't think there was one bad call after challenges on the Knicks. Like, I think they called everything well.
Yeah.
On that side of the ball. I just wish it was called evenly.
Because they called it out of bounds on Neesmith late in the game with that save that was to Anunoby.
Yeah.
But turns out he didn't touch it, and they challenged. And
7 minutes left in the
game. But then it was like the very next play, there was another.
It was Siakam got called for a foul.
Yeah, and it's
because he went straight up,
literally
hit ball first.
Yep,
everything perfect defense.
But you couldn't challenge it because you were out.
And you don't call that on Josh Hart in game 1.
Yep, man. I remember you saying that too.
So the refs, but besides refs, don't let it get to that point. You were up 20 points in the first half. You were up 13 at halftime. That is more than enough points for you guys. If you can make the comebacks happen, you can hold them there. So I think you're missing too many shots. They weren't shooting like normal either. Normally they would get swing passes going, and even if there was some guy closing out, they'd still shoot it. They weren't shooting it, which leads me to this: the threes and frees. Did not hit our free throws whenever it mattered. Well, whenever it mattered, we hit them.
Yeah.
But it was too late for that.
Yep.
You hit them earlier. It doesn't come to this point. They were 5 and 25 on threes.
Yeah.
That's
20% for a team that normally is in the 42, 43%
And I
range.
think they just weren't confident shooting the ball.
And it wasn't that they had that they were contested or bad looks. They just weren't dropping.
Yeah. And that happens sometimes. We said this last year against the Bucks. The game 1, Milwaukee won. The Pacers were not hitting any shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then they were 27 and 33 on free throws. You, in the grand scheme of things, you look at that. You're like, okay, that's
you
not
missed
terrible.
6, but
they're big 6 points.
Especially
the
when
game
you
was
lost
100 to 106.
Yep.
So, and you also get those free throws. You're up by more points. Then the Knicks get more desperate. They start taking more stupid shots and all that stuff. So it's a whole combination of stuff.
Yep.
So,
which then leads us to I'm going to hold off to see if this there's something else here, but I'm going to hold off to see if either one of us has this as our game-changing moment for you. What was the different making game-changing moment for you where things shifted?
So two things here. One is an honorable mention just in case the Pacers won. Whenever Brunson got his 5th foul and he did that whole – or 4th foul and he did that whole arm thing, I was like, okay, he's mentally checked out.
Yeah.
It was kind of early on in the game, early on in the third quarter. But I was like, that's it.
Yeah.
But Pacers didn't win. So there has to be a moment where the momentum shifted fully in the Knicks' favor, and they didn't really let go. And I don't remember the exact play, but it's whenever Cat I think he drilled a 3 or something.
Was
like
it the
that.
3 over the 2 guys where they set a screen and 2 guys came over and then he still buried it?
Yeah, I was like, okay, he's just not missing. I knew one of the 2 scorers were going to come alive. At some point, you just got to know when and who, and they weren't able to stop him.
I think I saw that, I believe it was in the third quarter, Cat single-handedly outscored the entire Pacers team in that quarter.
Yeah, so, and I think it was whenever he buried the 3, and then cherry on top of that was the poster that he had on Nimhart. not much you can do about that as a guard. If it was Turner or something like that, I'd be
but
like,
you're trying your best to, do what you can, draw a foul
and
if
it was
possible.
close to a charge. He was almost out of the restricted area, but wasn't quite.
Yeah.
So, but I'd say whenever Cat started going on the comeback, that had to be it.
Yeah. I had to as well. Okay, so and so I'll go with my last one, and that is the Turner missed 3 with 24 seconds left.
Yeah.
You're down by 2 at that point, so you hit it. You're in the lead. They get the last shot in theory with no time on the shot, but you could foul. There's lots of things you can do. But also there was 10 seconds left on the shot clock, which makes me think, yes, Turner had a good look. He got his look at the top of the key, and, Robinson was playing off. It was a good look. And Turner's been really good at 3 at home most of the year. But at the same time, it's not quite Pacers basketball to shoot with 10 seconds left on the shot clock. In that moment, I would have liked to see a little swing to Neesmith or somebody cut, something like that, a little bit more Pacers basketball.
Yeah,
than seemed desperation.
It seemed like they got away.
So that's my honorable mention. I'll say that is definitely the nail in the coffin, but I'm going to go all the way back to give it up for Tom Thibodeau for the timeout that was called with 3:20 left in the first half. The Pacers had just gone up 20. They had the Obi Toppin alley oop from Halliburton, the Halliburton in transition pullback 3, and then another bucket that put them up. The 20 points was their yes, yep. That was there. Got all the momentum. The roof is going like just being blown off the place. Thibodeau calls the timeout, and then the Knicks are able to cut it to 13 by half and continue cutting it, and eventually taking the lead at that point. So I hate to give it to something that early, but honestly, we even said like they kind of seemed a little flat. They seemed like they had already won, and they were just kind of throwing in the towel in the first half. And what did I say?
Don't give up. The lead is never safe.
You got to keep the pedal down just like they do at the Indy 500. It's what we got to do. Yeah. And they didn't. And I think they knew that post-game. So hopefully game 4, they come back and be more ready to go. Oh, and then before we do this and sign off, we now have to and get to do our player of the game.
Yeah.
Who's your player of the game?
Do I go realistic here or do I? We are a Indiana podcast. I'm going to say one for the Pacers, even though the real player of the game is Cat.
Okay.
He led the comeback. He led the team when everyone else did. But regardless of that, I want to say Turner because I kind of called it before. He had some big moments, but he had some really low moments as well. So I don't think that can be it.
Right. Missed 2 free throws in a row.
The person who didn't play bad at all from the Pacers, just shots weren't going down, but he was the guy whenever you needed him. Halliburton normally is, but he dropped 20. I think he had 6 assists, so not quite a double-double. And I think that was also another big factor of the game. He didn't have a double-double. Normally they win whenever he does. So, but those two are my player of the game.
All right. From the Pacers perspective, I'm going to say TJ McConnell. Had rattled off some good stuff, ended up with 12 points. So whenever TJ gets into double figures, that's a pretty good thing.
Yep.
Because he's so good at defense and energy and getting other people involved and other people's energy level up. But it has to go to Cat. He was the difference in the game without question. So that has to be it as far as I'm concerned. So, but that is all the time that we. provided that we can get it done that night after. Kind of depends on a few things. As the Knicks are in Indy again, and then I'll be back with your mom on Wednesday as the Fever play the Mystics and learn how to roll without Caitlin Clark for at least 2 weeks.
Yeah. Well, this is Liam
And this is Kevin.
reminding you to stay all Indiana.
All in Sports Network. We love sports.